Hello. Today is 12/19/2022. I wanted to give an update because it's been too long since I've made another video again. The big thing that I've been working on recently that I've been talking about, kind of hyping up, well, I had to fix a lot of bugs with it, and at this point, there's always going to be something to fix, but I feel like there's a lot more that I need to build it before I show it to the public just a little bit. So, as soon as I can find some art models to help, I'm then going to, release it all in one day, make a whole bunch of videos on it, and I'm really excited to release it, even though, I'm still trying to figure out how to get, help the people that I want to. I'll tell you a little bit about it. I really want to help art models bad. That's something that I haven't really seen anyone else do, and I'm a bit surprised about it, because I was thinking that I just thought something out there would exist for that, and it's always kind of hard to tell, because it kind of seems like there's not, if you see images on the internet of art models, that's kind of the end of it. Maybe there's something I don't know about it, but I feel give credit where credit is due. But I'll tell you this. The app is going to be a web application, so anyone could use it. I'm also making it so it could be used on your cell phone easily. I was thinking that, hey, probably artists are going to want to be able to, use this on the go, too. I'm also trying to make it sort of like a directory. So a thing time and time again that, people would really tell me, some feedback I kind of got on the application before was that it's not a substitute for in-person drawing. And I do agree. I kind of look at it as a supplement. I mean, it's not always easy to have everything on demand, I'd say, or you may not always have a person that could be a full-time poser for you, and it's kind of like that. I mean, obviously you could, if everyone has a phone of some sort, probably, that you can use to film yourself, and yeah, definitely that. But I mean, I guess real life figure drawing is always a bit more difficult, because I mean, even for me, I kind of live in an area where winter gets really crappy, and so bad that I'll, more often than not, I won't go out as much in the winter. I mean, I do, but I mean, it's just I've had so many bad experiences with just issues happening, whether it be a popped tire or really bad conditions, and I do have a car now recently, so it's I also don't want that to get damaged in any way, and it's just I've learned if something's gonna go wrong, it's gonna go wrong in winter, and I've just had it happen so many times. My oil just I don't know, one time I think I got my oil changed and they forgot to put the cap on or something like that, and it pretty much leaked all over the driveway. Actually, that was my father's car, but something happened with mine. I think the battery corroded really bad. Yeah, it was that. My battery corroded, and my car wouldn't start until I popped the hood. And I think another time, my car ended up rusting. I had an area where a spot was supposed to get fixed and ended up rusting anyway, even though they quote-unquote welded it and charged me $700 for it. Total scam. But yeah, sadly that happened. So I tend to avoid driving in the winter. I mean, I hate to say it, there are also a lot of potholes where I live. There's a lot of 18-wheelers tearing up the road, and they don't fix the road where I'm at in the winter, because it's just gonna get ruined again. So I do understand why they don't do it, but at the same time, it's kind of I have to be safe in swerve in and out of certain areas. I am going on a big tangent. The point I'm trying to say here is that it's not always accessible for everyone to attend a real life class. I mean, I'd say do it when you can, but like in my position, I'm trying to like plan for the artist who may not be near like some type of art studio. I also like sometimes artists are on the go, and I was thinking like, hey, you know, if they're maybe they want to get their practice in, and they're like attending some type of convention, or they're out of town, and you know, in that case, like, you know, draw every day is what I suggest, because you know, a little bit every day makes it less painful, in my eyes. And I was thinking that it could be a great way, kind of like not a substitute, I'd say like a part of the whole practice experience. I mean, it has to count for something. I mean, I always thought, you know, there was always like a fight whether you should study from pictures of people or people in life. Like I said, both have benefits. Sometimes I find it more difficult to like actually study from real life. I mean, obviously, I don't mean to say that. I mean, I feel like to break it down is sometimes more. One, I feel like it's more difficult because you have to like keep your head in the same position. You change it, and you may be looking at what you were drawing in a different perspective. So it's like, I feel like an image really does a good job at capturing the perspective of the thing you want to draw in the moment. I mean, like, if you want to take a video and, like, kind of learn from, like, a bunch of different dimensions, I highly suggest that, but, you know, that kind of also depends on the context. So, like, that's something that, like, I feel like a lot of people may not understand. I mean, some people would probably suggest, like, okay, draw without looking at the paper, and I definitely think there's a benefit to that. And I think time and time again, I think probably a combination of everything is the right answer. And you know, I kind of think like maybe the truth is in the middle. Everything will contribute to helping you become a better artist. The other thing is, like, I live in an area where there's not a there aren't any like figure drawing classes. I mean, I have to drive like pretty far. I mean, I don't mean to like be, you know, bitching and moaning about it, but like it's just difficult for me to get there, and it's also at night, and I also don't like I don't live let's just say where I live right now, I don't want to disturb I don't want to disturb let's just say I don't want to like disturb my parents. I mean, they wouldn't mind me going, but it's just such a pain. I'm just not in a position right now to go out as much as I want to, but I will in the near future, and I definitely plan to. You know, it's also for what I would say benefiting maybe people who can't afford it either, because I do plan to keep it free. And I mean, obviously, like, I'm really relying on support from people who are using it if possible. Like, I'm saying only support me if you can support yourself first, because I don't want to like make it like that. I've seen so many applications just go from maybe a free to subscription model. A lot of my stuff, like, I do want to keep it free, but at the same point, there are other things that I kind of have to. I mean, like I said, I plan to keep it free, but it's like I'm really gonna have to. I don't know how it's going to what people would call scale, because when you're paying for a website, you get charged in bandwidth, and it's kind of like it's basically impossible to offer like something for free if it's getting like a ton of traffic. Like, if it's getting a ton of traffic and I'm not able to like offset that cost with support, I'm pretty much just gonna have to like shut it down. And you know, I don't want to do that. I don't want to like hold that over anyone's head. I'm kind of hoping like it'll kind of work on the merit system, and if I am receiving, like, you know, if I am, my theory is if I'm truly helping people, then they'll want to help me back and help me keep the thing alive. So I guess that's up in the air, and we'll have to see how it goes, or crashes and burns. Well, I mean, I don't mean to hold that over anyone's head. I mean, it's like I just have to observe a bunch of things. But I'm so excited to like share it with the world. I feel like it's really an accumulation of my knowledge, kind of like, I guess you could say, masterpiece. I got some feedback from people on it. Well, a couple people, but I guess the one person I wanted to mention was, well, I guess I was trying to see if I could advertise with Drawbox. He, Urshad, or Uncomfortable of Drawbox, he gave me really good feedback on it. A lot of things that I needed to fix. There are some minor issues with it. I just wanted to give him like a shout out because I really appreciate his feedback, and he always gives such in-depth feedback, like whatever the thing is, and he didn't have to do that. But yeah, if you ever have heard of drawbox.com, like I really like what he does. It's good. I feel like it could really help you. Some lessons were better and more enjoyable than others. Some absolutely sucked. And they would still suck. Like certain things that they want you to draw for the exercise, like I do understand the purpose of it. It's just I hated it. And it's not because, well, I guess yeah, there's your comfort zone, but some things are just so terrible to draw. Like probably if I did it every day, it would be a lot easier. But that's just the nature of things. But no, please, I really do appreciate him taking time out of his busy schedule. I hope to give another big thanks to him through some way in the future. Especially if I well, I mean, not especially, I mean, regardless, but I mean, I just want to like bring that up through as the new thing grows, just to make sure like I give credit where credit is due. I won't be advertising on Drawbox.com, but I mean, that's understandable. I understand his perspective. So, what else? We're reaching the end of the year. This is always a time that I kind of like think about my current drawing level. Through the years, I feel like I really struggle just to do any drawing at all. Well, not drawing at all. I mean, just like kind of like doing it without it hurting, I hate to say. I think the important thing is to always be thinking about it, even though you're kind of going to be bad. I would say at this point, it's been a year since I had this drawing tablet. I've been using it every day. Doing digital art is a lot more difficult. I'm always trying to improve every day, and I'm always doing my practice every day, but I realized I kind of hit the point at which I was just doing practice every day, and I wasn't really drawing for fun, and I hate that that's kind of just a recurring theme with me, because, I guess you could say it kind of means, like, you're not doing it, and you're not enjoying it. I mean, I am, but it's just, my schedule, like, I hate to say it, but, like, when you do programming and the thing that I'm maintaining, it becomes, like, a matter of time, and I kind of just been, like, running out of time in the day. I also have a job, so a full-time job, so it's like I'm trying to balance everything after work, and it's just like more often than not I'll be doing this like into the late nights, and it's just like eventually 8:39 hits, and I'm just like I keep making more mistakes, and it's like I keep trying to push myself, but it's just like I'm really bad at balancing. Like I will say, okay, I'm done for the day at 9:30. Then like I can't stop thinking about how to fix this code problem, and then like I'll just, okay, you know what, here it is, it's 10:45 p.m. and I'm gonna get it done no matter what, and I do, and then more often than not the next day I find out that like I made some major, like I regressed and I made some mistake, and like I'm able to fix it. I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? And I'm like, I probably wasn't thinking. So time and time again, that's been like my big recurring theme. And like I really hate to put something down, because like I guess you could say I'm kind of like a completionist when it comes to it. I mean, you're gonna see in a couple weeks, I hope, what I've been working on for like so long, and I really hope that it hasn't become like a study in featureitis. Sometimes I feel like it may have like gotten to that. Excuse me. It may have gotten to that point, and that kind of wasn't the purpose. I just kind of thought, like, how could I most benefit art models, because, like I said, I want to make it so, like, how do I say it? I want to make it so art models are encouraged to do more, and that they could also do it as a living. So another person, I guess, I wanted to shout out, I guess, is Andrew of Art Model Book. Effectively, I didn't know this, but I'm under the impression that he's an art model, and he's just doing it endlessly. Like, he's doing, like, a lot of different sessions, and, you know, that's good for him that he's doing that. So it kind of seems like some people that do this, well, one, you know, they do it, like, full time, so they're just doing it constantly. And, like, I was also reading about how art models, like, pose, and it's just, it's insane. Like, I hate to say it, but it's just, like, you know, hold that pose for this amount of time. And it's, and, you know, one person, like, some people may say, oh, well, it's just standing there, and I'm like, there's a lot more to it. It's like a whole art in itself, you could say. So I've kind of, like, I guess you could say I have a deeper appreciation of it now. I mean, I feel like I always had an appreciation of it now, but I guess you could say that, like, well, I guess I didn't understand as much before, but now I kind of do. And it's also about, like, okay, you have to hold this certain pose when they take a picture in this certain environment, and I feel like more often than not, like, okay, I'm going to bring this up. If there's a light in front of you, like, if you're looking at that light, you're, like, going blind. Like, if you ever, like, posed for, like, a camera, like a professional type camera thing, like, those light bulbs, like, blind you, or even the lights just in the background blind you. So there's all these other factors that they really have to fight with, and it's like, it's, you know, it's a lot of work, is what I would say. It's I feel like it could be really grueling, and it doesn't always look like it pays the best. I mean, maybe I think it does, but, you know, I feel like a lot of art models, if they would, like, do, I would say, like, a double structured approach, if they would do pictures and poses for sessions, and I would say they can probably make a living off that. I mean, well, the other thing is, I feel like I can help them with image, like, if I can help them with images, because with images, if they take, like, you know, if people like the poses and they want to purchase them, then that can sell again and again and benefit the art model. And, you know, from their perspective, it's something that, like, they don't have to constantly, well, I mean, if they're making new ones, of course, like, I think a variety is always a good thing, but at that point in time, they could just sell the images to the artist that wants them, and I think it benefits both parties, and I feel like it could really foster a good type of relationship for the art models. I mean, you know, looking at it as a valid job, like, that would be really cool. It would be cool if I can help an industry, in a sense. So I guess I spoiled a little bit more about my app. I'm trying to make it two-part. Well, I mean, I'm all trying to make it to benefit the art model. So that's something that, like, is a bit of a challenge. But I probably have a lot more stuff to work on to make it easy and understandable. And I really am trying to, like, I guess you could say, build trust. So I'll have to see how that goes. I'm not sure, but there's just so many factors going into it. And, you know, I hope it succeeds, because, well, I guess that's all I can say. I hope it succeeds. Then I'll, you know, I really want to commit to helping. I don't want to make it a paid to use service. I've seen so many of those, and I think it gates off exposure to art models. I think that, I mean, I'm not saying, like, everything has to be free, because that's definitely not the purpose. The purpose is to, well, like I said, connect art models to artists. Yeah, I guess enough said with that. But yeah, I hope to really help people with it. But I must sound like a broken record. So, drawing. I'm drawing some pretty terrible boxes here, but I am just trying every day to get better, and I think that's really what matters. I have been thinking about somehow maybe like joining a drawing class or some type that I can get better feedback and expand my skills. I'm not sure what class to join or whatnot, but I have been thinking about doing it because I feel like the more I learn from that was awful. The more I learn from actual drawing, the better it makes me at kind of like noticing my mistakes. And I think for like, okay, I think when I was starting out, one of the biggest issues was not seeing my mistakes, even though they were right in front of me. I'm kind of being too nervous. I'm also probably drawing a bit too slow, but oh well. Oh, okay. So I guess you could say some of what I say is going to be kept as kind of like an archival record one day or something like that. I guess I should talk about ChatGPT. GPT? But effectively, for the longest time, I hope I didn't talk about this before, but before there was like a whole hoo-ha about people feeding their models for AI art with existing artists' work, and I guess it wasn't, well, of course it wasn't clear to all the artists who this work they stole it from, effectively, to feed their model and create images. Yeah, I'm not surprised that it happened. I mean, I could have sworn that, like, I would think something like this would happen a long time ago, not, like, in this year, and then you have this explosion, and then, for the longest time, people were saying it's the end of artists. Well, now there's ChatGPT, in which it's kind of like the end of programmers. It's not going to be. I mean, probably no one cares even what I'm saying right now about it. I'm not saying you have to. I guess I just wanted to like keep my opinion on it. Because effectively they're getting all of their information from communities, probably from like Stack Overflow. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm saying probably, they're scraping the internet everywhere. It may not even be in like Stack Overflow's term of service, or like even like with GitHub Copilot. Like I want to say a long time ago I heard about them using their AI. I think it's called GitHub Copilot. They were using their AI to scan open source repos hosted on GitHub to work on their AI machine. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not surprised. The problem is how much do we give away? How much do we give away when we use like a free hosting platform? It's kind of like that one episode of South Park about the human centipede. And check that out if you get a chance. But effectively it was like, yeah, we don't know what we're agreeing to in the terms of service. We're not like that specific type of lawyer. We're not that, well, like, who's gonna read 900 pages of lawyer speak? And more often than not, even if you try to contact a lawyer, good luck even if you know the exact one to find when it comes to writing terms of service. And I'd say more often than not, will the terms of service even truly help? Or is it just like a catch-all that really wouldn't even hold up in court? But like, even when it comes to like artists being affected by it, I think they're just under the assumption that like, oh, what was in the fine lines that you stored your stuff on our platform, and this was in the agreement policy. So it's like, yeah, it's I find it wrong that it wasn't made blatant that they could just take it without asking people. But hey, I guess that's the internet. Hate to say it. I mean, people don't even think about how much, like, how far that goes. Like, I guess another important thing to do, or to say, is that, like, with a lot of my applications and whatnot, my desktop applications, I don't do that type of scary tracking, or tracking in general for those. For my website, I do use, like, Google Analytics, which just gives general analytics. The idea is just to get some feedback, not to, like see everything about the given person. Like, I don't do scary stuff that, like, a lot of corporations do. I mean, I'm not trying to look like the good guy here, because I know a lot of people have bad things to say about Google Analytics. Which, I guess anything could be used for bad. It's just a tool, and probably someone will find out how to one day, sadly. But like, one thing I really strive for is not like, I don't want to violate anyone's like trust, and that's kind of just a big thing that I've been thinking about all the time. Let me think. What else? I was going down the tangent of data collecting. Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised one day if like everything you spoke into the phone or any microphone or even the microphone I'm talking into right now would somehow be used to feed some type of like model. When I say model, I'm talking about like the AI and all that. To feed some models so they can make, oh, you could talk like anyone. And like, wait a minute, when you bought your phone, when you bought this mic, you agreed to the terms of service. It says we could track every syllable you say, and we can make a voice replicator using your thing. I mean, this is just a future. I mean, if you ever heard of what a deep fake is, I mean, this is literally the future. This AI stuff has been around for like a really long time. The fact that people were able to shove it into the web to get it to work on the web is probably the newer thing, if not even. Yeah, it's always scary, and it's just, I hate to say it, it's just how it is. And I wouldn't say it's the cost of like free software, but in a lot of cases that's how it's kind of like perceived, I'd say, or I guess you could say no service is free because you're somehow paying in data collecting. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we progress or how the world changes with all of this going on, because I have to say I really can't see how it's going. I mean, it's all a bit scary to me. I hate to say scary, just like, how do I say it? Just, well, like, yeah, scary. Okay, no, I'll go with that. All right. Yeah, it's sad, but oh well. I guess that's the end of that. It's not the end of that, but yeah. Yeah. If there's anything you want to talk about, please throw it down in the comments if you want to. Because like sometimes I just don't know what to talk about. Well, you know what? Okay, I'll tell you something that I learned. I'm gonna draw some hands real quick. Let me do this, and I'll teach you something. I hope. So, like, I've been trying to draw hands a lot, and I've been trying to kind of learn from them. And I hope to God I didn't say this before, but, hands are just so weird, and there's just so many variations to draw, so many different ways to draw them. And, like, I kind of always realize there's, like, always, like, a flat side, and, like, a thicker side, which is obviously, like, where the thicker side is where, like, or the more bulbous side is, like, where the fat pads are, you could say. This is probably a bad example. But, it sounds a bit obvious because clearly the bones are more protruding on one side than the other. And I've also been thinking about thumbs. Like, there are just so many variations of thumbs. And, like, I feel like whenever you see, like, some type of not shard, but, like, corner, it's always the nail. And I guess it always depends on the perspective you're looking in on. But, like, I've just been thinking, like, it is so weird. It is just, like, I have such a hard time trying to, like, comprehend it. Because it's, like, even I've been looking at my own thumbs, and I'm like, what the heck? It's, like, I feel like my thumbs are, like, turned inward a little bit more than, like, all of the thumbs I see that I draw from. And I'm like, what the heck? What's up with that? And I guess you could say that I probably have just, when I was younger, played video games too much, and that's my assumption. I wanted to say I read an article a long time ago that said people who play piano, pianists, damage their fingers, or like that, because they have to contort their fingers in a lot of weird ways to reach certain keys, and what would that be? Hit certain chords and whatnot. And apparently, like, it does like permanent. Wow, I forgot how to pronounce that word. Permanent damage to their hands. It's just like, I mean, it doesn't hurt. It's just kind of like you're doing something you weren't made to do with it. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. And, oh, that was just an awful hand. So like I'm like that kind of makes a lot of sense though. And apparently like I found out people who play like tubas, they apparently like it causes their mouth cheeks to expand. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, well, that makes sense because like even if you like look at okay, space travel. So like I wanted to say I read an article another day and it was about like people who were in space came back a little bit taller, and it had to do with like the lack of gravity on their spinal cord, and I don't know, something about more space. I don't know the exact details, but like yeah, it caused like damage to them for being in like the orbit, or I'm guessing no, not being affected by gravity, because I'm like, wow, yeah, we weren't made for that. So that like definitely affects you. So like oh, damn it, the image change. So I'm thinking that like even when it comes to drawing, we're probably doing like some type of damage to your hands. I mean, I'm saying it's worth it, but like you got to be doing some damage. I'm thinking people who do digital, like, oh, for sure you're damaging your eyes as well. So like I'd suggest getting like a pair of like blue light blocking sunglasses, not sunglasses. They have blue light blocking glasses. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. It kind of I've seen it like not hurting my eyes, and my eyes get less strained. Obviously, like I will get eye strain to a certain extent, but I feel like it's a lot better than not having any protection. I mean, you could even turn down like the blue light on your computer, which I'd highly suggest as well. Maybe I'm just thinking about it too much, but like I'm thinking like years from now we're going to hear about like, did you look at a Windows PC from this year to this year? You may be entitled to financial compensation for going blind. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So, especially considering the line of work that I'm in, that relies on me being on a computer all day, like, we're not made for that. You can anyone can clearly tell that we're just not made for doing that, being in that position all day, especially for long hours. Like I said, I mostly just draw for practice and fun. I'm not like I'm definitely not a professional yet, but you can tell like even those people like they're doing some type of damage. I mean, whether it be like carpal tunnel, or maybe they're better about that and they're really able to balance it in a better way. But yeah. Well, I wish I had more to say. I feel like I would. Well, I do have some other topics that I could talk about. So I guess you could say that like, I've always been thinking of better ways to draw, because I feel like for the longest time I've gotten to a rut in which I just do the same thing every day and nothing more, and I don't like that. I need to add more variety, and I need to add more I guess you could say fun to it. So like I've really been trying to think how I can do that, and I haven't found that way yet, but I am still looking for my way. And I'm so bad at drawing hands. Really bad. It's just awful. Everything's just awful. Sorry. Yeah, I tend to go down that rabbit hole too. But, hands also vary so freaking much. There's just so much when it comes to hands. It's just a bit nerve-rattling, is what I'd say. Because it's like, if you're not drawing from the same model, it can get so bad. But yeah, sadly, I actually have to get going now. I was hoping I'd be able to continue with this longer, but sadly, I cannot. But thank you for listening. Bye.